If I'm Kevin Durant, okay, I would want the hell out. I would want to get far away as possible from the Brooklyn Nets and Kyrie Irving.
After getting swept by the Boston Celtics in the first round, a lot of people are questioning Kevin Durant's legacy and whether or not he was actually that good. Okay, maybe that's a stretch, but a lot of people are still questioning his legacy. Some people are saying that Kevin Durant was never a good team leader. A lot of people are questioning where Kevin Durant ranks all time, and to be honest, I don't agree with this. Listen, I know it looked like he got his power stolen like in Thunderstruck, but seriously, we should not be doing this to Kevin Durant. In today's video, I want to discuss whether or not it's fair that we're trying to base Kevin Durant's legacy off one series. Now, before I get into the rest of the video, I'd like to remind you guys that only 23% of you guys are subscribed to the channel, and if you guys do like the content that I make, then please let me know. And the best way you can do that is by subscribing to the channel. And with all that being said, let's get into the video. I have to address this because I got roasted for yesterday in the comment section, but I said the Brooklyn Nets were going to beat the Boston Celtics. Now, I didn't say it because I thought the Nets were better or that the Celtics were going to lose this game. I said it because of my Scott Foster video, which, by the way, if you didn't see that yesterday, you definitely should. But in that video, I did mention that Scott Foster is known for extending games because the NBA is going to make a lot more money when a series goes to 6 instead of 4. And while Boston did have a really good chance as Jason Tatum got fouled out and they were down by 2 within 20 seconds. But Kevin Durant made a mistake that he's going to be remembered for a while.
22 seconds left, and Durant first miss.
Now, because of that miss, the Brooklyn Nets would be down by 2 and they'd be forced to try to get a stop, but Boston would go on to make a bucket right after that, and that would be the end of the game. Now, a lot of people are trying to compare the situation between Kevin Durant to LeBron James, but I'm sorry, we're not going to do that. Because I hate when we do these things where if we're going to talk good about one player, then we have to bash another. But you know what? Since we want to play that game, let's play that game. All I saw yesterday was, oh, LaMickey would never. Oh, this would never happen to LeBron James. LeBron James is so much better than Kevin Durant, and this just proves that. First of all, right out the fucking jump, LeBron James didn't even make the play-in. Let's just settle that first. So yeah, LeBron James could never because he couldn't even make the playoffs, let alone the play-in. Number 2, do not act like all of you guys weren't saying that Kevin Durant was better than LeBron James every other day. Watch, next season LeBron James is gonna fuck up one time. We're gonna be like, oh, I told you Kevin Durant was better. However, that argument is stupid because people are always changing their mind, and even though I'm a really big KD fan, I've said for years that I think LeBron James is better. Also, I love how we go from not criticizing Kevin Durant to now, okay, you know what, we're just gonna eviscerate him. Because now questions about his Golden State days are being asked, his OKC days, fuck it, I've even seen people talk about his middle school days. Now listen, before anyone asks, I'm not gonna make any jokes about the sweet... Oh, come on, I had to do it one time. But seriously, I don't think it's fair what's happened to Kevin Durant, because if you guys don't remember, this is the same thing that happened last year to LeBron James when he lost to the Suns. The only difference is that the NBA media rides LeBron James not as much as they ride Kevin Durant, which is kind of weird to say because a couple days ago, no one was criticizing Kevin Durant. However, when he officially got swept, then the question started to be raised. And I know some people are going to tell me that, oh, LeBron James was injured, Anthony Davis was injured last year, and while that's true, Kevin Durant and the Nets went through a lot of problems this year, including Ben Simmons, who his timetable to return is non-existent. I'm probably gonna hit 100k subscribers before Ben Simmons even plays one single game of basketball. And if that's the case, then we have serious problems, because Ben Simmons was supposed to play in game 4 and then he said, oh, you know, I just can't. My brother in Christ, we were all expecting you to play and you were at least gonna help him make it not a fucking sweep. And now your name is being tarnished, rightfully so. I understand the mental health problems, and I'm not gonna say he's lying about that, but I think you're lying about your back injury. If it's mental health problems, then just say that, but I'm sorry, even some people are questioning whether or not that's legit anymore. And at this point, I wouldn't really bat an eye if you were to say, oh, I think Ben Simmons' mental health problems are fake and he's using it as a scapegoat to just not play. The man is making more money than any of us will in our lives in one season by just not playing at all. So while I don't blame him for not playing because of the paycheck he's getting, unless he ever intends to play basketball again, then he should probably suit up. However, this isn't a Ben Simmons video, this is about KD, so I'm gonna move on. Now, everyone wants to blame Kevin Durant for him not playing well, but we need to give some credit to the Boston Celtics. The defense they were able to do to lock down Kevin Durant for every game except game 4, what I believe he went for 30 plus, is amazing to me because they had defensive assignments and defensive sets so good that they were able to lock down Kevin Durant himself. Even Ramadan Kyrie didn't even exist after the first game. They had Brooklyn's 2 superstars locked down, and when you have a team like the Brooklyn Nets where the roster isn't that deep and you're able to lock those 2 guys down, then the game is over. So yes, Kevin Durant did have his struggles. I obviously really am not going to give 100% credit to just KD struggling. I'm going to give some to the Celtics. And if you want to give credit, I'd probably give around 60-40 mostly to the Boston Celtics. Good defense will always beat good offense, even if good offense is Kevin Durant. I think something we also forget is that Kevin Durant and LeBron James are practically the same age. And I think this is showing that Kevin Durant is getting old and he's fatiguing and he's someone that isn't a fucking robot and or not invincible. People are holding him to this high standard to comparing him to LeBron James when they're not the same player. LeBron James is literally one of one and Kevin Durant is one of the greatest players of all time, but he's not LeBron James. So I think it's kind of unfair when we try to assess them and compare them on the same level when they're not in all reality. Sure, there are moments where I think Kevin Durant is better than LeBron and vice versa, but at the end of the day, LeBron James has longevity. And he has the best longevity of any NBA player all time. And I don't think anyone is going to recreate that for a very long time. What's crazy is that I think because of all the recency bias, this could affect Kevin Durant's legacy when it comes to all time. Because he's in the late stage of his career, we're going to be honest. He's not going to go 10 more years on. He's probably going to retire within 5 years. So if he doesn't win an NBA title and he gets swept again, or if he loses a bunch of playoff series or doesn't even make the playoffs, then how are we going to compare Kevin Durant to other greats? What is the incentive for Kevin Durant to stay on the Brooklyn Nets? Does he try to ring chase quote unquote and go to a super team so we can have one more ring then retire? Well, no, because he'd be a hypocrite. I think realistically, with the fact that Kevin Durant was able to struggle this much in this one series, it's going to impact him for the rest of his career, which I've been saying the whole time. I don't think this is fair, and in my opinion, I really am not going to think different of Kevin Durant just because of this series. Even with LeBron James not making the play-in, I still have no different feelings about him. If LeBron James was to retire today, I'd say he was arguably the second best player in NBA history. If Kevin Durant was to retire today, I'd say, you know what, maybe he was a top 10, top 15 player all time, but he's still an all-time great. I'm not going to let one series change my mind on how I feel about a player. And I feel like a lot of NBA analysts and even NBA fans do that, which I don't think is fair. We have 6 months until Kevin Durant is going to play basketball again if he doesn't retire this season, which I don't think he's going to. Does that mean for the next 6 months we get to slander his name and say that he wasn't as good as we all thought and bring up the Golden State days and the OKC days and try to dictate every single thing? I literally saw Russ fans trying to say, oh, now you see it was the Kevin Durant problem, not Russell Westbrook. Like, bro, shut the fuck. To be honest, I think it's just going to be natural for us to talk bad about players and talk bad about their legacy if they have some struggles. Now, let me say this. I don't think we shouldn't criticize Kevin Durant for the performance he had. It was terrible, and obviously he deserves some criticism. But to criticize his whole legacy and his whole career because of one series at the end of his career, at this point, y'all are just fucking bored. If we're gonna do this to KD, fine, but let's do this to LeBron James next year when this happens, or other NBA players, because I'm sorry, but this isn't fair and this is completely ridiculous. If you want to see a video about Scott Foster, click on the screen right now, but other than that, stop comparing Kevin Durant to LeBron James. That shit is mad annoying.